In 10th grade, I remember after a period 4, the entire class would walk to lunch along this barren patch of land that connected one part of the school to the other. Every single time, I would want to speak to this girl, but be shit scared of doing so. Every time I actually opened my mouth and said something, obviously it went well, as it tends to do in the real world. But over 100 times, the copes in my head were so bad that I just didn't speak to her, and I regretted it. Fast forward to now, I no longer have these issues. I've gotten over myself, and now I just say what I want. Which people sometimes, often, think is very, very funny. Just recently, one of my last days of high school, these two girls who recently, I asked out, they were like, no, because they're like Los Angeles people and they don't really know how to communicate. They were like, oh my goodness, my name. Do you want to sign your yearbooks? Come sign your yearbooks. And basically, initially I was just going to say no because they hadn't treated me the best. But after, I decided to do a little prank. So I just waltzed on over there, cowboy boots on, and I just fucking signed it. And what I said was basically, no, verbatim, it was, dear, name of the girl, if you change your mind, and then I just put my phone number. And then I did that for both of them, full straight face, and then I just walked away. 2 years ago, I would not have been able to imagine doing that. Because it's like, oh my goodness, what the fuck? They're going to share it with everyone? What are they going to think? What is everyone going to think? I just don't care. And in this video, I'm going to be teaching you how to do the same thing with the Lagerstedt protocol. Now, this beautiful man who's been staring at you for the duration of my story, he is Anomaly. He runs a CSGO YouTube channel, and also in real life he does a bunch of things. And he has such a particular, really funny sense of humor and big old confidence. And obviously it helps that he's like, I don't know, 6'4", like 300 pounds, big Swedish man. But he has a bunch of things that you can take away from him, which I'm going to be showing you right now to build real confidence. Now, here we are. Table of contents. Number 1, nobody gives a shit. Number 2, say what you think is funny. Number 3, oh no, what if you're ugly? Number 4, smell good. Number 5, do things in the real world, please. And number 6, what happens when you have to deal with conflict. These are the 6 steps, or the 6, like, kind of, hold on, I'm just trying to see where to move the camera. There we are. Yeah, so these are the 6 steps to get over yourself mentally and just to know how to be confident. Number 1, nobody cares. This is one of the biggest lessons that I can teach you here. Here we have his dad, Baba Ganoush. So, number 1, you have to understand the number 1 thing before you're going to do the whole confidence thing. You're going to do the whole, like, saying whatever you think is funny, making people laugh, making your friends, doing whatever. Nobody cares. Please keep that in mind. One thing I hate is when people tell me that they're going to look stupid, and so they're not going to do something. There's a couple of times that this has happened, and right now, if someone tells me this, I'll just literally straight up tell them, trust me, nobody cares that much. The whole point of this is we're all in our own heads, and we care what people think of us, and we want people to think of us well. Obviously, that's a good thing. We want to be perceived well by the rest of whoever we are in a group with. But the number 1 thing that you have to keep in mind is that everybody cares about themselves much more than they care about you. And if they care more about you than they care about themselves, if they're really focused on you, trying to make you feel bad for whatever reason, fuck you, fuck them, and their dog shit manners with no culture. There are a lot of people like that, right? There are a few people who are just going to be, no matter what you do, they're just going to be focused on you. They're just going to be focused on making fun of you. Whatever you're doing is wrong. Whatever they're doing is right. And ha 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 lol. And they'll often hide behind like irony and like, oh, I'm just joking. It's only joking, man. Why are you angry? Fuck those people. Please, if they're in your friend group, reconsider that you must leave. You must leave those environments as soon as possible. And if they're just random people, why would you care? Literally, why would you care? But that's the vast minority of people. So if there's an option to, like, for example, volunteer for a thing, go volunteer for it. And you really want to, and it's in a group, and maybe, I don't know, maybe there's a speaker up on a stage and it's like, raise your hand if you want to help me with this thing. Or there's like a magician on the stage or like a musician. It's like, raise your hand if you want to go fucking do this. Just go immediately. Hi, I'm the guy. I'm that guy. You have to tell yourself, like, hello, I'm that guy. Then you go fucking pick me. without being like, oh, what will my two friends think when they record it and put it on their Instagram story that gets 80 views and 2 likes. This shouldn't be enough to stop you from doing what you want to do, let's just say. And it's pretty selfish because most people actually won't care. And you're just assuming that the fucking world revolves around you and that everyone, for example, in the gym, I train neck often, and obviously, like, it looks like it looks like a funny movement. Same thing the other way, it looks like a very funny movement. Sideways, less so. Sideways looks more like an exercise, but it looks pretty silly. A few things I do look pretty silly. I do the arm wrestling lift, the fucking pronation lift, that, like, I don't know if I can show you this. Well, you just go up with the belt and you just go like, and you make a face like you're gonna shit yourself, and it looks very funny from time to time. Literally don't care. Literally don't care. You must grow your forearms. You must learn how to arm wrestle better. You need to do the things that you actually want to do without fucking worrying about like the two broccoli-haired idiots that are gonna make fun of you privately for what you did in that moment. And as a bonus, please don't be embarrassed of your family. I used to be horrible with this. Now I think I'm pretty good with this. I'm not gonna go into like, oh, what if my family is abusive, whatever. Then, yeah, that's awful, that's horrible, and they're shitty. But still don't be embarrassed of them. As in, I don't think there's a benefit to being embarrassed of much. Because if your family is horrible and shitty, I'm truly sorry, my heart goes out to you. That's not what we're talking about today. For the majority of people, their family is trying to do right by them. Actually, not for the majority of people. I would say it's 50-50, actually. So if you happen to find a family who tries to do right by you, or even a family member, because most people have at least one family member who tries to do right by them, who tries to do the right thing. And as kids, we develop a tendency to become embarrassed of these people and to become like, you mom fucking dropped me off one block before the school. I don't want my friends to know that I have parents, things like that. If you're still doing that like over the age of like 14, please grow up. Please get out of that mindset. Do not be embarrassed of your family after all that they've probably done for you. Show them off to your friends. Show them you should be proud. You should be very proud. It's like, show your friends to your family. Show your family to your friends. Introduce everyone. Don't be like the secretive guy as it comes to friends and family. Obviously, each person's individual and unique in the sense, but as a general sense, don't be that guy who goes into like the open house or the parent night at their school and is just like fucking staying away from like, I don't want people to figure out that she's not my dad, she's not my mom. Just fuck you if you think like that, man. Because imagine if someone was so embarrassed to be around you that they just didn't want to associate with you and they didn't want to tell their friends that they're with you. It's like, come on. That's so ass. That's so embarrassing for you. If you're embarrassed of your family members, that's so embarrassing for you. And it probably reflects the fact that you're not very good about being around yourself and being around yourself in silence. Also, yeah, if you spend like all your time on social media, it's not gonna end well, right? You have to be able to be with yourself and be not around other people, and then just like be able to be still. And if that happens, then it's gonna help you with a lot of things, including not being embarrassed of your family.
You even come up with this.
We were gonna change the name, and I was like, okay, what is funny?
Yeah, shit is funny and fuck is funny. Haha, lol.
Number 2, what's funny? Here's how you actually assert yourself. Here's how you actually make people laugh. This is funny. I love the pictures I use for this. So, the number 1 rule for this, number 1 takeaway, you just say what you think is funny. This is how I get the whole class laughing like 40% of the time that I like loudly announce something or make a comment. Well, because I'm not in high school anymore. But in the later years when I developed this fucking tendency to just like speak up, there's so many people who in private, not so many, there are a couple of people, right, who I think some of whom may be watching this video, who in private, they say the funniest shit ever. Like there's this one guy, he was one of the funniest people I've met for like the 2 sentences that he said to me. But then they're so quiet. They're so quiet otherwise, and they don't share that with the world, and they don't let the world know that, which is like, come on, man. Other people would really appreciate your jokes, and if they don't, again, fuck them. So, there will be a few idiots who think you're cringe when you do this. Most of the time, they don't actually think you're cringe. They think it's a little bit funny what you said. They just are maybe a little bit tiny bit jealous that they can't do that. They can just be like, excuse me, I have a funny joke to say. But again, don't care what people think. We've gone through that in the last section, so that should be a non-issue. And also, let me give you a big spoiler warning for life. Cringe doesn't exist. I'm not going to explain this fully in this video. I guess it's not exactly beating around the bush, but the things I'm explaining in this video and the examples I'm using kind of prove that, yeah, when you look into it much, cringe doesn't actually exist. And when you look at the nature of it and why it's there, like why you perceive something to be cringe, it doesn't really exist. There's no, yeah, cringe doesn't really exist, so don't be afraid of coming off as cringe. And this is what friendship groups are literally for. Friend groups are for saying what you think is funny. And I'm going to talk about this in one of the next sections, or like a couple of sections online, but if your friend group doesn't like what you're saying, and if your friend group thinks you're cringe, leave immediately. They're not your friends. So if you're in a nice social circle, the thing is, if you're not in like a fucking war-torn country, if you're like in a peaceful, nice Western country, you should be so happy because you can literally just go around, frolic, and be friendly with people all day. And like that's what the way the world turned out. And like if you, especially if you live in a decent area, that's literally what the people before you fought for, is that you can go around, fucking frolic, go eat nice food, be with nice people, and say what you think is funny. You have to somehow get yourself to the point, and through, yeah, this is something Chris from First Man said, is that confidence doesn't really exist. It's just like the thing that remains when you take away all fear. You have to be able to say what you think is funny always. Obviously judge the situation. If you're at a funeral and you think like, have you heard of the guy who invented the knock knock joke? You want to know what he got? He got the Nobel Prize. Don't do that at a funeral, obviously, but that's not what I'm advocating for. And if you're trying to like nitpick apart these things like, oh, well, you shouldn't say what you think is funny at a funeral, of course, and that's not what we're talking about. So, getting back to the main point, in order to develop this confidence, you have to remove the fear of judgment from other people enough to the point where even if nobody else is laughing with you, you still think it's worth it to just say something because you think it's hilarious. Like, okay, maybe this is a little bit like the outdated tendency that I should change a tiny bit, but I still think it's like mostly fine. Sorry, there's the camera refocusing. So I will sometimes just like say something that's like a super niche reference, like elite ball knowledge, like really, really niche reference that probably nobody will get. And even if, yeah, nobody does get it, and it's just me, I'll just like giggle to myself. I'll just laugh and giggle to myself, and it's cool. And it's completely cool, and it's worth it. And if somebody does get the reference, then you just strengthen your relationship a lot with that person, because it's like, oh, what the fuck, you know about that thing too? I didn't know you were chill like that. So you have to get to the point where you just do these things, say these things. If you think the time is calls for it, and if you think that it's worth saying, go say it, even if it's scary. It's gonna be scary the first few times if it's not natural. It's okay. Go do hard things, and I'm gonna be teaching you how. Like, so the next few are gonna. The first two are what to do, right? The first two sections are what to do. Don't care what other people think. Do say what you think is funny. The next few are going to be teaching you how to do this.
Shut the fuck up, kid. You are ugly and girlfriend lost you.
Now, here's one last limiting belief that we're going to be going over with a beautiful picture that's going to be on the next slide. What if you are fucking ugly? Because a few people, me included, there's either one thing about... I just can't take this picture seriously. There's either one thing about themselves or many things about themselves that they're like, okay, sure, I would say these things, I would become this confident guy, but I have this one feature or these couple of features that prevent me from doing so. Oh, there we are. Okay, here we are. Here's a very, very nice picture of me. I used to be very, very silent and not. Can I fucking move the camera? Thank you. So I used to be very, very silent about things and basically not speak up because of the insecurity I have about these guys, these two front teeth, beautiful. I genuinely used to think that people would just fucking hate me and be disgusted when they saw this. And so when there was quarantine and everybody wore masks, I was like, oh fuck yeah, yes, we live in a society, bam. and then I would just keep on the mask. And I kept the mask on in 9th grade, even after some people weren't wearing them. Well, it was still like technically recommended, but yeah, like I would keep it on longer than basically I needed because I was just afraid of showing these guys. And now I have plastered on this beautiful image and just uploaded it right here. So here it is in all its glory. I will now move the camera over it so I can actually read the bullet points, and so you can actually see the bullet points. Here's a chopped picture. Again, I took it as I was making these slides, and I genuinely didn't want to post it. And that's a sign that I should, because it's so chopped that I was considering being like, no, maybe I should take maybe a less ugly one. But this is the point. This is the point. You see how if I didn't post it, it would be a defeat, because it would be letting an insecurity get to me. So the main point for here is that everyone's fucking ugly. Please get over it. You see here, you like. Okay, this is either bravery or insanity, because it's like Abraham Lincoln beard style. But this picture, fucking Odin looking. No, but this picture, it's not the most flattering, and he still posts it. And I think people should be able to have a nice laugh at themselves. Also, I think like Anomaly's like a little bit maybe crazy old man, but there's definitely an element also of him being able to laugh at himself. So the thing that you need to know is that absolutely everybody, especially girls who post with their fucking picture behind mirror selfie with their fucking asshole showing very nice, they go through 99 plus pictures to see what they should put online, to see what they should post, to see how they should present themselves. And obviously you should present yourself in the best way possible, such as this picture. But no, I'm just obviously doing it, showing you this as an example of what getting over it looks like, because I literally sent and then just took this picture. So you have to know that nobody posts like the first picture that they see. And if someone does post a very funny looking ugly picture, like that person's probably in a pretty good place mentally with themselves, because they've gotten over it. Here's the biggest thing, the second biggest thing after the tooth gap, the flex versus unflexed abs conundrum, and also the lighting. Everybody, absolutely everybody, who makes fitness content and who posts it, fucking fully like just flexes, contorts, like whatever, twists, lat spreads, does everything possible to make themselves look leaner than they are, to look better than they are. You can see in my previous video, I like, it's basically me in like pretty bad lighting with fucking mostly unflexed abs, so like you can see what that looks like, and it's not nice. It's not nice because it doesn't look like what you see online. But if you actually take a look at some of these people, like Alex Eubank, one of the most lean fucking people before he hopped on steroids, one of the leanest naturals to do it, basically. You could see his videos, especially when he was a little bit more bulked, and by a little bit more bulked, I mean 170 pounds instead of 160. You would see when he relaxed, and when he breathed, and when he wasn't like turbo neurotic and aware of what he looked like. Hold on, let me just take the camera down a little bit. Hello. So when he wasn't like that, you can see his stomach was literally fucking bulged a little bit. I'm like, what's it called? I'm saying around to the lead guy. He was like, I can do all this horseshit where I'm like twisting, and it's like, non-existent waist, snatched waist. If I just completely let myself go, I start to look a little bit like fucking rounded, my guy. And this is me like basically fasted, so this is the best state I'll be in. Especially after I've eaten food, fucking, you're gonna be a tiny bit bloated, unless you go like a very nice carnivore diet. But so do not be afraid at all if you unflexed doesn't look that impressive. First, because there's no natural limit, and you can get to a point where you unflexed does look very, very impressive. But also know that most influencers, when they just let themselves go and relax, relax their stomach, it doesn't look at all like what they post in their pictures. So just take that as a little thing. That no one walks around like their best, most edited Instagram picture just day to day. You can get close to that, but it's like a fucking what do you call it? Like the derivative approaches 0. Like you can approach that, but you'll never get there, right? You can get to an amazing level, which is why in the next point I said you can change a lot, but the rest that you can't change literally doesn't matter. And so worrying about being perfect before you start something that you want to do is fucking retarded, because it's not gonna happen. Like, don't wait, right? Don't wait until you're a certain way to do something that you want. Unless it makes sense, obviously. It's if like you're fucking 4'2" and you need to be like 4'5" to use a ride at a carnival. Obviously, don't. You know what I mean. So there's no bar for entry for being confident and for being funny. So do what you want to do right now, and don't wait till looks max. You can look like this guy and oh fucking, please, thank you. So you can look like this guy and still do the things that you want to do. So
Always on our balcony, this motherfucking moose, Papa. This always sitting on our railing, this motherfucking moose. Look.
Number 4, smell good, especially if your mouth area. Do not have breath that smells like fucking anus and decomposing fish. Hello, dog. Here's a humongous life hack. I was gonna make this about smelling good just in general, but I realized afterwards, like, it's the most basic advice ever. Use deodorant. Yay. Use Spice Mom Night Vision. Yay. And that's how you take care of basically your body. What's, in my humble opinion, way more important, because no one's gonna smell like fucking rose petals 100% of the day, and just not having a bad smell is I think more important than having a distinct good smell. Obviously, go do fragrances, very nice, looks maxing, whatever you want, but the most important thing is that you follow this protocol to eliminate a bad breath. Nice English. You need to eliminate this, you need to follow this protocol, fuck me, I can't speak the language, to eliminate bad breath. Here's the step-by-step instructions. Number 1, fucking brush twice a day, 2 minutes each time, obviously. Do it a proper 2 minutes, not like a fucking 30 seconds coping. Floss, please, it takes an extra 1 minute and it makes you not like decay at the age of 20. And tongue scraper is where you take the thing and you go, and then it gets rid of most of the fucking, like the build-up, the shitty fucking build-up that just makes you, not very attractive. So that's the hygiene part. Number 2, have lots of water and electrolytes. Cheers. What I did before beginning this glass of water is basically, I have a thing that's like light salt, so it's sodium and potassium chloride all at once. And I just fucking poured some of that onto my palm, literally, bam. It tastes like salt, but a tiny bit sour. It's called light salt, I think. Yeah, Morton's light salt. Because also kosher salt doesn't have iodine, so make sure you're getting iodized salt somehow. So it's, this light salt is iodized salt and potassium chloride, which is a nice balance of electrolytes. You also need magnesium, calcium, things like that. And I just took a bit of that, and I take this. And keeping yourself hydrated is going to be very, very important for making you not smell like fucking repulsive. The big thing here is plus electrolytes. It's more important than you think, because if you just have lots of water, holy fuck, I remember in school I would just be chugging water, whatever, but my breath would still fucking like be like stale and shit and fucking ass, and that's one of the biggest things that stopped me from talking to people, because I'm like, okay man, I don't want people to like, I don't want to curse the world with this, so just fucking keep it. He kept silent and just kept chugging water, trying to like be, hoping it to change something. Also, obviously, gum, things like that work. Mouthwash, things like that work very, very well. But the electrolytes are super important so that you're actually hydrated properly, because you can't just chug water and expect to be hydrated. Avoid very, very strong smelling foods right before a date with a girl. Honestly, if you're with your boys, like, it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't make as big of a difference as you think. Like, you can literally garlic max, like Eric Bugenhagen max, like clove here, clove there. Just like down raw garlic. And it won't make as big of a difference as you think. Maybe like someone will catch one whiff, but it won't make a big difference if you do this next step, which is talk to people and be social. Holy fuck. Please. If you wake up, do all the hygiene things, get go electrolytes and water, and then you just like eat food that isn't complete like sardine and onion and garlic maxing and fucking like blue cheese. If you do just that bare minimum, and then you go outside and then you spend the rest of the day talking to people, it's completely fine. And then you stop for the day, and then you like, kind of notice like things about yourself. You're like, huh, I have basically like no negative smell right now. I have no bad smell right now. That's because you take your mind off of it, and I don't know if some fucking like pheromones don't get secreted or some shit, but it's like it just makes you smell completely fine and not not bad. If you're out and about and you're doing an active, having an active lifestyle. When you're neurotic within yourself and not talking to people, that's when like some fucking bacteria in your mouth starts to build up and like plaque and whatever the fuck and some stuff on your tongue. And then that's just not pleasant. And you can tell those people because like sometimes like people who are, it's either people who are just like kind of retarded and don't follow the basic hygiene things, which like that's not nice. Or it's people who are just like very neurotic and like you accidentally like catch a fucking slight whiff. I know this whole topic is kind of disgusting, but it has to be talked about because pretty much no one else talks about it. Then you catch like a slight whiff of that and it's just fucking gross as shit. And it's so easy to fix because it's like, man, if you just go out and talk to people, I've done like literally, 12-hour shift. Yeah, I just kept up with water and I had like some fucking small pieces of gum. And at the end of it, like 12-hour shift, you don't even reek like you would expect, right? Like 1 hour of not talking to people and just being within yourself, like neurotic, concern, hunch over, whatever. And it just like significantly, like you start to notice yourself not being as fresh. 12-hour shift in the kitchen, literally going around fucking telling people, walking hot, putting this in, opening the door, fucking chopping the shit, 2 minutes on this, whatever. Pronto, it's ready. You do that for a bunch of hours straight because you're being active and being social and talking to people. It's just like you're fine. You're absolutely fine. And you don't notice it on other people either. If you're on a sports team, if you're at work doing cool things, like at school actually talking to people and you're not in a fucking retard autist classroom that like the teacher's like, no talking, fuck you. If you're just out there in the real world being cool, you're gonna smell fine. And if you take care of these basic hygiene things, you're gonna smell fine. This is the biggest fix. Here's the number 5 thing you need to keep in mind, and this is also equally important for the last part. Every part builds off the previous one. Every next part adds to the previous. So you need to live in the real world. I guess the archetype that I could use for someone who doesn't live in the real world. Oh, whoops. I guess the archetype the archetype that I would use for someone who doesn't live in the real world is an XQC chatter. Time to throw PogChamp, BGGL, XUCL. Band, Poggers. Band, Poggers. Time to throw Pagman. That's an XUC chatter. Fucking Peepo. Very unlucky. Fucking Twitch chatter goes in. I used to be this guy. I used to watch like XQC, like Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trial. I used to watch fucking. Sorry, I didn't have to crack my neck. I used to watch like XQC MasterChef, and it's just because I had no friends to do anything with, and it's actually terrible because you're there and there's this guy making millions of bajillions of dollars. And you're just there and it feels kind of cool, but then you stop watching the stream and then there's just this emptiness. It's wholesome and funny and nice, but you're just wasting your life basically, and there's an emptiness of like, okay, I'm not doing these things with my real friends, and you kind of get a sense of the fake thing, but it's nothing compared to the real thing of being out in the real world. And Anomaly, for all that he's a fucking gamer, fat Swedish, hahaha lol, he does a lot of things. He travels to a lot of places, he hangs out with his friends a lot, he has a great social circle, and this keeps him mentally sane and not like fucking disgusting. Like disgusting incel, like cave dweller goblin mode. Reason I say squamish enjoyer is because the time when is that sweat stain? Christ in heaven above. So basically, the reason I say Squamish Enjoyer is because there's a part of Canada, British Columbia, close to Vancouver. It's called Squamish, and it's a very, very beautiful area full of nature and everything. And I went there for 2 weeks in the summer and then like a weekish in the winter a couple of years ago. And that was so nice because I basically spent the whole time there with people my age, like plus or minus a few years. And then a couple of like camp counselors. It was like an overnight camp thing. I was like 15. But basically, you go there and we explored, we rock climbed, we fucking went on boats, we went on islands, we like pissed and shat in fucking horrible, disgusting porta potties that haven't been cleaned in a while, and it was fun. We set up tents, and like my eye hurt in the middle of the night because like I don't know, something about like the hardness of the mattress I think was so bad. But we just had a lovely, wonderful time with other people, and this is just the exact opposite of it. We went around campfire, did all that this shit. It was real. It wasn't like. Yeah, we had some conflicts, but it was real, and it wasn't this shit of like just trying to be cool. It wasn't the thing of like this soy Wojak that's like or the Wojak that's like hiding behind a mask, like pretending to be happy, and then behind he's crying. So you need to do a lot more of that. You need to become a lot more of the Squamish Enjoyer in whatever way you can. But actually, I have no friends, and I live in the middle of Bakersfield, California, and it's okay. You can still do it no matter where you are. Unless you're literally fucking isolated in the woods. And even then you can like go around, talk to the animals. Fucking Skoogie and Kalar Mayhem. I think I pronounced that correctly. It's a song with like 3,000 views. I don't think many people will get the reference, but or Skoogie and Kalar Mayhem. I don't know. It's in Swedish, but the consonants are weird. So you need to embody the Squamish Enjoyer way more than the fucking XUC chatter, and you need to do that no matter where you are, no matter how isolated your situation may seem. You can do things. Again, as I've said, Anomaly hangs out with his friends all the time. This is what stops him from being a cave dweller. And it also trains you to not suppress yourself unnecessarily in public. I remember going out in public after quarantine. It was like the weirdest thing ever, because it's like, lol, and everyone was so awkward. Everyone in my friend group was like, we don't know how to make eye contact. We're like, I still struggle with eye contact. That's the one thing. Not necessarily because, okay, no, that's a cope. It is because I'm like a little bit nervous in that sense. But just because it became such an ingrained pattern because of when you're on a screen, you're not like fucking autist like looking at the webcam. You're like looking at. So over quarantine, which was a very formative time for a lot of people watching this probably. You're like cranking 90s in Fortnite, doing zone wars. You're focused on the mouse and keyboard and like doing comms. You're not like looking into the camera or like looking into everyone with a video on. It used to be even embarrassing to have fucking video on, bro. Holy. So you need to live in the real world to get out of that quarantine mindset and to train yourself to not be awkward in public. Also, one thing, never ever talk like this. Never ever again talk like this. The one thing that Hamza got super right is that fucking people will be like, well, so yeah, just shut up. I have a big ass tooth gap. It's not nice. I'm not getting braces for it because they're very, very expensive. And also, I just genuinely, I think I've gotten over the insecurity. Like, it's not an insecurity anymore. Even I don't talk like this because it's fucking autist. I used to do that a lot. I used to take pictures like this. Just show your whole face. Just fucking with a big ass forehead. Pull up everything. Just be proud of how you look. And if you're not proud of how you look, do a bunch of looks maxing. Do a bunch of things that you can. But still, even in the process, don't be ashamed of how you look. And also that, yeah, I told you the Canada story. That traveling to many places, it resets your perspective and allows you to get into a different mindset than this fucking XUC chatter COVID mindset. And it gets you out of negative thought cycles, because when you're alone with dual monitor setup, fucking Artisan mousepad, very nice, Razer Viper Ultimate, and then like a Razer keyboard from 2019, because the Clicks keyboard you had along with that you got along with the Clicks mousepad in 2020 fucking broke a few years ago. That's just my situation. So when you have this whole setup going on, nice epic gaming PC, mic, 2 gaming chairs, cat, dog, that's also an XUC reference. So when you have this setup and no one else and no real friends, you just have your computer, it's so easy to get in your own head. Like, maybe you go on Twitter, you see like some fucking ISIS beheading video, and you're like, the world is such a horrible place. And it's like, bro, you literally aren't even going outside. So you need to you need to do these things. You need to take these trips, like kind of esoteric, like nice spiritual places, like up in the mountains, to reset your vision and to get yourself out of these negative thought cycles and out of this fake fucking depression. I wouldn't say fake because it's real, but this easily curable depression that so many of us find ourselves in. Also, I had a trip to Hungary. I'm having another one very, very soon, so it's gonna be nice. And this time I'm actually gonna vlog, unlike the fucking last time where I said, okay guys, expect tons of vlogs, and then I didn't. Also, you can probably see the difference in confidence in my videos from way back then versus right now. So, you do need to have these trips. For me, Hungary was very, very important socially because there were a bunch of situations there that like don't really exist here. I don't know. There were like these assholes on a train who like kept on trying to like provoke me and intimidate me. And after that, it's just I don't exactly care, and I don't exactly get scared as much. By like people here, because people here, it's like it's not really a hard life in LA. Yeah, it is if you're homeless, if you're like in Inglewood, and if you're in Compton, I don't know. But for most people here, like people have a pretty good life, and so it just when people try to be like these fake gangsters, I'm like, oh, it just doesn't intimidate me as much as it would have before the Hungary trip, because in Hungary people actually like go through some shit. Like it's not a first world country like the United States, and the quality of life is very, very different. So if you have those trips that reset your perspective and get you new perspectives, then you're going to be able to handle your everyday day-to-day situation significantly better.
My phone, I recorded a little sort of SOS message that we can play for passing boats, so maybe they can save us. Help! We are stuck by the pier. We are going to fucking drown. We require...
This last part is going to be about navigating conflict. I touched on that a little bit. It's so fucking cool how every part in this video builds on the last one. By the way, this picture is from them. The fourth Baba Ganoush vlog. Basically, Anomaly and Papa and his dad have a series in which... Papa Anomaly. It's so fucking funny. Basically, they have a series in which they just say... which is supposed to mean Baba Ganoush. And so they make Baba Ganoush in various ways. And this is them reacting to the Baba Ganoush being right outside of their door in the fourth installment. Now, here's what you do. What if someone gets mad and there's a conflict? Oh no. I think my generation's the fucking worst at, like, holy fuck, we're so bad at navigating conflict. We try to do everything fucking possible to be like, hey, it's just a joke, bro, it's just a joke. We try everything possible to not go head on and be like, hello, pussy, what's up? To another person, which sometimes is smart because obviously you don't need unnecessarily conflicts in your life, but it's just like there are big old school men, like probably our grandfathers or great grandfathers generation. I can make the camera a bit bigger because there are no more pictures to show. Basically, our grandfathers and great grandfathers generation, like for better or worse, because some people in that generation were obviously way more likely to be fucking assholes as well. World War II, Austrian painters and such. That guy tried to navigate conflicts and it didn't really end well for him. He's a fucking asshole. So basically, this is a double-edged sword because back then, like, people were a lot more kind of head-on and would say things, which we don't need to go to like Hitler as the fucking ultimate example, because like obviously that's the man. I'm sorry, it's just with these types of videos is kind of a tangent, but like saying Hitler is bad in like a kind of self-improvement video is now kind of controversial. Whereas in 2016, I was young as fuck, but basically I was still on the internet. In 2016, saying things like it was a super hyper leftist era, right? Like on most of the internet, it was the whole Ben Shapiro destroys feminists, because like there were actually a lot of like the persona that you think of when you think of a feminist, there was fucking a lot of those people, and it was very, very funny, and it was very, very left leaning. Right now, a lot of the internet, a lot of the fucking, especially with like Kanye West doing his fucking schizophrenia, and people like Andrew Tate and Bradley Martin, there's so much like genuine like Nazism and what's it called, just anti-Semitism. And so I felt a little bit awkward about using Hitler as the bad example, because people in this fucking autistic space are like, well actually, and then they do like the Nick Fuentes thing. That's besides the point, but it's just so sad that a lot of places, a lot of channels in this industry are now like borderline Nazis, which is not nice, which is not very nice. Not sure how this is going to affect the retention of this video. Not sure who that's going to resonate with, me saying this, but yeah, it felt like this rant had to be there. So back then, a bunch of generations ago, obviously there were a lot more evil people. Like you go like Mussolini. Like, was it good that Mussolini was like willing to deal with the conflict? Was it good that like fucking Vlad the Impaler was way back in the day was able to impale people? Probably not. But there's a certain aspect where on the other side, if those are very clear examples where it's used for evil, but it can also be used for good. So when someone's trying to start a fucking fight with you nowadays, you just go, haha, okay, bro. Everyone calls everybody bro. Everyone pretends like everything is fine, and then like inside their mind is all fucked up. Basically, we're so risk averse and like conflict averse that whereas back then it was too much of a problem because it was too easy for like fucking assholes to mess up the lives of other people. Like it was way too easy for like high school boys to be like, hey, Shitter, give me your lunch money, fucking whoosh. Right now it's the exact opposite, whereas if someone like bullies someone, it's more verbal than physical. People aren't going to know how to respond, because back in the day, I can imagine, like, people had those fights. People actually had fights. It wasn't just a one-sided thing of like one guy bullying another person. The person would be like, go home to his parents and be like, all right, son, see, stand up for yourself, see? And then we'd be like, so, people back in the day, even though it was oftentimes used for evil, had the ability to face the conflict and to go into the conflict head on more than they do today. That's what I've been trying to explain for like 10 minutes. I got stun locked into a fucking talk about the online self-improvement space. Beautiful. So, you need to have a bit more of that old school mindset of facing the conflict head on. This has nothing to do with like the Hitler, Mussolini, Vlad the Impaler, those people. This has nothing to do with that. It's just, again, rant I feel like needed to be said. So that's how you need to face conflicts. You need to do things head on, with a few caveats. So here is the classic example of who is your actual friend and who is not your friend. If your friend group, I touched on this before. Thank you for bearing with me and staying here, listening to that conflict, Freudian slip, listening to that rant. If you're still here, you're a real one. If your friend group doesn't like hearing you speak, leave immediately. And I don't just mean if they're like memeing with you, if they're like toying with you, and if it's obviously a joke, but if genuinely every time you open your mouth, they're like, shut up, man. Shut the fuck up. This guy again. And you don't even know why you're friends with them in the first place. Maybe you just know one of the guys who's like kind of cool with you. Just leave. Just fucking leave the friend group, because it's not worth it. It's just, you can find other friends, right? There are more than like 8 billion people in the world now. You can find at least one other friend who isn't going to be an asshole to you. And it's just not worth, like, these people take up too much of your time and are big fucking idiots. It's not worth it whatsoever. Here's the example. Assholes in quarantine. My friends in quarantine were oftentimes cunts. They were very, very sneaky. They were very, very sly. Talk about you behind your back. We had some funny moments, obviously, because every friend group has some funny moments. But we had a lot of funny moments. But overall, it's just there was no integrity here. Right now, the friend group that I'm in, well, kind of disbanded as well because we're going on our own ways for college, is the Chad Jewish friend group. These guys are really, really funny. They just like say things with their chest, say what they want. What's it called? If someone has a problem with each other, they want to hear the other person out, right? They want to hear the other person out. And they're like, oh, how can we help this? How can we solve this? They're very solution oriented. They're not worried about this fucking horrendous, like sly, sneaky horseshit, right? And the reason I say Chad Jewish friend group is just because it just so happens that I'm like the only non-Jewish guy in the friend group. And they've been very hospitable. They've been very, very cool about that, very accommodating. So, yeah, it's just such a striking difference between how things were handled back then in quarantine and the whole collective mindset then, and the mindset in this friend group where everybody's like upfront, says things that they want to, says what's on their mind. Obviously, still we make fun of each other like friends do, but it's not like this sneaky, malicious, behind the back kind of thing. Now, if a person of authority gets mad at you and there's a conflict with them, do what's in your best interest. Know that you're not... There's a word in Hungarian that's kiszolgáltatva, which is like a state of being like, not sold out, but like to being subservient to someone in a way that like it's really not to your benefit. I don't really know what the translation is for English, but basically it's if someone's above you and getting mad at you and putting you in a place that you don't want to be, there's nothing that you can really do because of various systems. It's like this could be a teacher, a boss. Stand up for yourself, and if it's really bad, fucking report it to whoever's at the highest place. Never compromise your like integrity, but play like obviously don't. Not obviously, but also don't start any unnecessary conflicts, because there are things that they're battle. Basically, pick your battles. If it's someone above you and they're like fucking just slapping you, they're just like straight up verbally abusing you, fucking leave. Again, don't sacrifice your integrity. Don't sacrifice your health and well-being, but get what you want out of the situation. Pick your battles wisely. There are some battles that aren't worth fighting. So stand up for yourself while playing it smart. That's how I summarize it here. But another way to summarize it is pick your battles wisely. Next part is don't be intimidated by anyone and threatened by anyone. Hindsight is 2020, so I can now say this very easily. Obviously, I will be intimidated and threatened by people in the future. But just back then, looking back at it, it's never worth it to feel, and it's never like that big of a deal. It's never worth it, obviously, but it's never that big of a deal. When someone's like trying to be intimidating, like, when someone's trying to threaten you. Obviously, these friends of people in quarantine, they're like, man, we used to like blackmail each other with like videos of each other saying naughty words. But basically, yeah, it's just if I could go back to that time, I wouldn't take any of it seriously. And there are also like, I use the word autist too much in this video, but there are like a couple of assholes in the gym who are like, the gym I go to, we'll go to for like 2 more weeks and then I'm fucking out of here, who are significantly bigger than me, seemingly significantly more confident than me, like cocky or whatever. They just mog me, right, at first glance. But they're also like ugly and like really bad people, from the way they interact with people, from the way like they talk about people behind their back. And not gonna lie, yeah, still to this day I get someone intimidated by them, because it's like, man, they could probably beat me up because they're probably fucking bigger, stronger than me, but it's just not worth it. Looking at it from an outside perspective now, it's just not worth it to be intimidated or threatened by anybody. Because like, what can they do? Realistically, nothing's gonna happen. Realistically, most of the conflict is just inside my head, and I don't have to pay attention to them. I'll fucking leave this gym in a little bit, and we can just go our separate ways and let them continue being like LA, like raw gear assholes. So it's just not worth it. It's not worth your peace of mind to be intimidated and threatened by people. Now again, if you're in a conflict with someone like a person of authority, with a system, especially if it's something in public, something that isn't like private conflict, be professional, don't be embarrassed. So like, let's say you're shouting a little bit too loud, like you're saying what you think is funny and your friends are getting a bit too loud. Someone goes over, tells you to be quiet. Be professional, don't be embarrassed. What was that noise I just made? Don't be embarrassed. Just be like, oh, okay, sorry about that. Like, all right. And maybe even laugh it off a little bit, but don't be like, okay. The guy was so weird. What the fuck? The guy came over to us. He was so weird. Why would you tell us that? If you're like, your friends are being too loud or maybe like trespassing somewhere you shouldn't be, and someone like talks to you about that, because obviously like trespassing is sometimes fun. You're not hurting anyone, but someone in a position of authority, maybe like security guard somewhere, fucking, or like a waiter at a restaurant, if you're being a little bit too loud, is gonna come over to you and be like, hey, knock it down a little bit, you're being a tiny bit of a cunt right now. Just be professional with them, be like, oh, okay, sorry, you're right, that was a little bit out of hand, That was a bang out of order, as First Man would say. Don't be embarrassed. Don't be like, okay, and then just like run away, scurry away. Be professional about it. Be like, okay, yeah, I fucked up. Or if you don't think you fucked up, be like, okay, all right then, sure. And then just like leave and go do it somewhere else if you genuinely don't think you did anything wrong. That about concludes the Lagerstadt protocol. To max out being like an Amelie and his very funny friends. In terms of confidence, in terms of how you should portray yourself, and just to say the things that you want and what you think is funny. So, that is all for today. Thank you so very much for watching. And I had a lot of fun making this. Hopefully you had a lot of fun watching this. If you're interested in culinary things and nutrition, check out my online course in the description, please. That's it. Remember, you may not have a lot of time, but you do have enough. Peace.